The Obama Foundation recently held its first ever democracy forum in New York City. Dozens of experts discussed ideas about how to strengthen democratic governments around the world. One panel, featuring Representative Ro Khanna, Zambian economist and author Dambisa Moyo, and Mariana Mazzucato, an economics professor at University College London, examined the concept of inclusive capitalism and how it relates to the future of democracy. We learned a lot. According to Forbes, inclusive capitalism employs investments that have both economic and social benefits. Unlike private equity or exclusive wealth, which are strictly about lining the pockets of investors, inclusive capitalist exchanges must also address societal inequities and policy failures, among other issues, in an effort to achieve a greater good for all. Representative Khanna underscored the link between capitalism and inclusivity by referencing a quote from President Obama's 2018 Nelson Mandela annual lecture speech.
First, Madiba shows those of us who believe in freedom and democracy we are going to have to fight harder to reduce inequality and promote lasting economic opportunity for all people.
If you don't have that, you'll have despair, you'll have resentment, you'll have malaise, you'll have polarization.
Mazzucato argued that an important step along the road to a more inclusive economy is prioritizing conditionality when allocating government funds.
The idea of conditionality is, think about the United States. Every single bit of your iPhone that is smart and not stupid was actually invested in by the government. Internet, GPS, touchscreen, Siri, these are all outcomes of public funding. Unless we actually talk about the government as a risk taker, what I call an entrepreneurial state, the title of one of my books, then we actually don't think through what does it mean to share in both the risks and the rewards. And if it's just about putting money in without actually thinking through what does it mean for intellectual property rights, how to make sure we don't just privatize every single bit of the technological trajectory, which gets us what we have today in the vaccine side, which is vaccine apartheid. We're not actually sharing the knowledge of vaccine production, and certain companies are refusing to do so, even though they benefited from public funding. Where were the conditions attached to make sure that the kind of relationship that then was an outcome of that, the kind of technology that was an outcome of that, actually did good and not bad?
Moyo asserted that the absence of dedicated funds that prioritize improved living standards will continue to negatively impact democracies worldwide.
The more that we see a deterioration in living standards and opportunity for people, I think we'll continue to see countries like the United States see their democracies downgraded, as we've seen from the EIU and others as well. So there is clearly a relationship. I think that we should be worried about economic growth, but we should also understand that as long as we're not generating improvements in people's living standards, we are likely not only to see a weakness in democracy in liberal democratic states, but we are also going to start to see a sort of proclivity, an inclination of people to look at authoritarian states as perhaps being a solution for improvements in living standards. In other words, they may decide that there's nothing wrong with being in an authoritarian state or deprioritizing democracy in the interest of economic progress.
Our biggest takeaway from this talk may be obvious, but it's an often underestimated fact. People are less willing to participate in a democracy that they feel doesn't care about their quality of life. Inflation has ripped a hole through wallets across the country. That financial strife hurts. And as these panelists have made clear, unless global capitalism becomes more inclusive, democratic governments are on borrowed time.